Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and I hope all of you are doing great. So in today's video we'll be looking at few swing setups that are looking really good for swing trading for the coming week and just a general overview of the market and which sectors are currently performing good and which sectors are coming up. So standard disclaimer, any stock discussed in this video is not a recommendation. Please consult your financial advisor before taking any trade or making any investment. This video is only for educational purpose. So let's get started. So we'll start with analyzing the Nifty 50 chart, right? So last week, this past week, we saw the market fell. Like there were two strong gap downs on the back of the overall global market sell-off, especially the Japanese market and the American market. And if you look, the market took support at the 50-day moving average or the Nifty 50 or almost all the indices like the mid caps and the small cap and even the bank Nifty. All these took support at the 50 DMA. Even if I look at the mid cap index or the micro cap index, that too took support near the 50-day moving average, and a small cap 250 index also took support at the 50-day moving average, right? So since then, what has been going on in the market is that it has been just consolidating in this tight range with 21-day moving average as acting as the resistance. And if you look at it on the 15-minute chart, you'll see something very interesting, right? So this is the 200-day moving average on the 15-minute time frame, right? So you will see something very interesting like a VCP kind of formation happening here, and if it breaks out from here we can see some good upside on the Nifty, right? Keeping aside the that news about the Hindenburg report may or may not have any effect on the market, right? So just keeping aside, just looking at the charts only, right? So current bias is that although the overall bias is still negative for the week, but uh, very few selective setups have been been emerging in the market, right? And I have started dipping toes in the water. It's like saying like I have started with some testing position, like a smaller position. So let's say if you go in with a 20% position, kind of position size, you are starting with a 5% or a 7% position size to just test if the setups are working or not, if you are getting a follow up or not, right? So so currently I am expecting if this area is broken in all these indices, especially this gap down region, if the gap is filled, then we can expect some upside and move towards the previous highs, right? So now going to the individual setups, I have made a watch list, and before that we'll look at the few sectors as well, right? So I have given you two tools for the sectoral analysis, right? So one we have is the Tijori market monitor, and the other one that we have is the charts maze, sector analysis and the industry analytics, right? So here are three different ways. Like if I look at the number of stocks with which sector has the highest number of stocks near 52-week high, right? So you'll see healthcare has been coming up, right? So no, most of the names in the healthcare sector, like the pharmaceuticals, medical diversified and medical services, like your diagnostics and other kind of stocks, all are within this broader healthcare sector, have been performing really really well. Especially the pharma sector has been in a complete bull run from quite some time, and it is like a full blown bull run currently, right? So if you see the performance of the stocks, like for the past 3 months, pharmaceutical as an industry has given 17% returns, right? And if you look at the charts as well, you'll see many of the names have been making new highs. Look at the Walkhart, Wenbury, right? If you look at the Strides Pharma, SMS Pharma, right? So there was a bit dip, I think. So there were results as well, right? You look at the charts of these pharma names, right? One thing is clearly that you can see is that just they have been continuously going up. Look at the Glenmark Pharma, look at the trend, right? It has set. Look at the Strides Pharma. So there are, bad thing is that there are very few opportunities now in this sector with a low risk entry. Look at Lupin coming out of a large base, right? So currently there are very very less opportunities. I only got 2 3 names which are worth uh, you know trying in the pharma sector, but as a whole the sector has been doing really well. If you look at the another sector, waste management, you'll see the stocks like Anthony Waste and not exactly Gravita, but Ganesha Ecosphere and many stocks like that. It doesn't capture all the stocks here, but if you look at Wabag and the Anthony Waste. So for the last 3 months, these stocks have given 44% returns, right? So again, this is a sector that is in the full swing. But if you come down, if you see sectors which are currently gaining strength, like, oil and gas, if you see power, and especially the chemicals, like I was really surprised. I got many names in the chemical sector that have been coming up, and I have those names in my watch list as well, right? So this is one sector that has been continuously gaining strength. So that is one that one must look at, right? So these are the stocks which have the highest RS, right? And even if you go to the Tijori market monitor, so again we have plywood again as a sector has been doing good, especially maybe because of the 1 2 stocks like Rushil Decor, right? And we have solar panel manufacturer are doing really well because Websol, if you look at the Websol, it has been going in circuits from past few days. Select Energy also doing well. Reflex and all these stocks have given quite handsome returns for the past 1 week, right? So again, you'll get to see chemicals here as well, especially the alkali chemicals, right? So GHCL is actually a very interesting setup. I'll show you, right, in some time, right? So these are the few sectors that have been gaining strength, right, for the past week, right? So I have gone through the sectors and I have selected few names, and we'll go through that, and I'll give the link in description as well. So as I was saying, many names are coming up from the chemical sector. So if you look at the Dynpro, that is dynamic products, right? So it is a very nice flag kind of structure if you see. So this was a large base and there was a sudden move after the base with the good amount of volume, and since then it has been consolidating very well of the 21-day moving average. And even if you look at the weekly chart as well, then also it is a large base formation currently going on with this 450, like 420 level acting as a very strong resistance, right? So one of the stocks which is setting up really well. If you look at King Fa Sciences again, you can clearly see the strength coming in, right? So it is also coming out of a large base and currently above the 10-day moving average. If you look at IG Petrochemicals, again consolidating above the 50-day moving average, kind of a VCP kind of structure, slowly forming here, with a clear 662 663 as a nice resistance. If you look at BEPL, right? So this is kind of a not that my kind of structure, but currently it is trying to come up from this level, and as whole sector also gaining some strength. And if you look at Aarti Industries, a very nice structure, results are also really good. And if you see, it is at the clear resistance level from where it reversed last time and took support at the 200-day moving average and started heading higher. And now again at that level, somewhere around 760 or so, getting ready for a breakout. And as I was saying, GHCL has a very interesting structure if you look carefully, and especially if you go on the weekly time scale, right? So it had a really nice bull run in back in 2021 and the early 2022, and since then it fell and consolidated a bit, then moved up, then again fell, consolidated a bit, and now again coming up. But if you look at the one interesting part, that is the volume. Just look at the volume combined with this weekly candle, right? So again, a very interesting structure that is here. And this is also an inside bar. So if you haven't watched the video I posted few days back about the inside bar, then do watch it. I'll leave the link in description and in the I button as well, right? So again, a very nice interesting structure. And if this is a big base breakout, so you know the power of big base breakouts, they usually give very high returns. Then coming to the few pharma names like Walkhart, so again it had results on Friday, right? So the result overhang is also gone, right? So it gave a very sharp move in July. If you see from the previous base, since then it has been consolidating, now trying to break out, actually broke out on Friday, and the bit volume is also picking up. But the only issue is that it is now currently in the circuit limit, I think so, right? So ASM and other different kinds of list, right? Other Another name that I have, very interesting one, is NBCC, right? So this also had a very sharp up move few months back. Since then it has been trying to recover, and it recovered, but again fell back towards the 50-day moving average and then bounced back. So earnings are very close, so that is something that you need to keep an eye on. Then we have EFCIL, right? So it is kind of a low liquid name, I think so, right? So because that is what I can see from the movement of the price, but it had nice results, pulled back towards the 50-day moving average, and since then it has been consolidating in a time range. So it is kind of a good reversal kind of a structure. Then we have Gabriel. uh, like there's not much to say about the setup because the setup itself is self-explanatory, because if you see, it is coming up from the base, since then pulled back, reversed. Look at the candle here, this one as well, indicating that there is good demand whenever the price goes down, but I think so there's still the result overhang. Then we have Helicon Castelloy, which had really nice results. This one is also very similar, coming out of a very large base, and since then has been consolidating in a tight range. So, and auto ancillary as a sector has been doing really well fundamentally as well and technically as well. Then we have Donia, which is from, I think so, from the textile sector, right? So textile also moved very well last week, but I don't actually include too many textile stocks, especially not any textile stock, because that as a sector I found very difficult to trade, right? So I usually avoid it, but this one is a very clean setup. Then we have the fertilizer sector, is also fertilizer, pesticide, and all those things, agrochemical, basically agrochemical, they have been really doing really well. If you look at the Coromandel International, really nice setup. Insecticide, India has a really nice strong setup, but this one has a better risk reward with the entry. And another one that I got from the fertilizer is Chambal, which is again setting up. Last time it disappointed me somewhere around here, I tried trading it, but again it is setting up nicely. Again, a very large and a nice base, so hopefully this time it won't disappoint. Then water as a whole sector has been doing really well. EMS, if you see, it gave a breakout from the inside bars and currently, consolidating near the previous high, and it also had results. So let's see how the market reacts to the results on Monday. Then we have Vijay from the diagnostic sector, right? So only thing that I don't like in this particular setup is that, look at these long wicks and these large red candles whenever the price tried to break out, right? So that means there's still a lot of supply left, right? So hopefully this time it will get clear. Overall setup is a really nice one. Then we had really surprising was that the packaging sector turned a bit positive, right? So price was already telling, right? You can clearly see the price for the last few months. The price was already telling that there's something going on in this sector, and the recovery is underway, right? So but currently now the setups have also improved. These two I like most, Cosmo First and Polyplex, right? So keep an eye on these ones. Then we have car trade, right? So full disclosure, I actually bought it on Friday as a testing small position, right? So again, has been also doing really well. There's not much effect of the market, overall general market fall on this one, right? 2 days in a row market gap down, but it recovered really well, and now just consolidating tight range. Then we have the Wellspun Corp, again from the oil and gas, related to the oil and gas sector and the water sector. So this was a large base breakout, then consolidating in a nice range above the previous breakout region, and there was a very strong shakeout towards the 50-day moving average and recovered. Plus the earnings overhang is also gone. Krishna, from the diagnostic sector, if you see, Shilpa Medicare again, this one holding up really well above the 21-day moving average, right? And the result overhang is also gone in this case. Jubilant Pharma is the another pharma name, which has a nice entry still left. If you see, coming out of a large base, very strong move. If you see, look at the volume combined with the move, and since then just consolidating in a tight range. So this is kind of a momentum burst setup. Like, what I mean to say is that if the price comes out from this area, then there could be a very strong up move like this particular candle, right? So these are the few names that I have my eye on for the coming week. And here are a few big base setups, few repeated names like the Electro Steel and the BPCL in Petro. This one I found really interesting, Dole Telco, which is also a 3-4 month kind of a base, trying to break out currently, and ICRA. So if you look at the sector also, it is coming up. If you look at the rating agencies, so currently turning positive for the week, right? So this one is also kind of a large base, but a very choppy setup, so I usually don't like to trade this one. And Alchem Labs, again from the pharma sector, a very nice VCP, weekly VCP kind of a structure that it have here, and a very strong breakout, plus the earnings overhang is also gone, right? So these were the few setups that I had in my you know uh, I had my eyes on, and none of the stocks that I have discussed here is a recommendation. This is just for a educational purpose to show you how to select the stocks, what kind of stocks to look for. And I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something new. Goodbye, take care, see you in the next one.